And I wanted to say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I flew back home and I slept till late. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Because after that I also had to bathe. And if I could go back and change, I probably would still be late. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But reviewing this has become my fate. I wasn't sure how to end that one. Still got no intro for that, but guess what? We're back! Hemos vuelto, Rolfo! Hemos vuelto! That's a reference to an Out on Play video. But the point is, yes, we have returned. Behold, the the set. I say the set is just the room in the house that I used to stream, complete with printer that I always have to move before starts. Actually, sometimes it's there anyway, but printer that I sometimes have to move before setting up here. Because yeah, there was a few things. I was surprised I didn't leave my own equipment in here. I would have thought that I would have considered doing that in the past, but I suppose I didn't. That was some nice singing. Yeah, totally an original apology song that was absolutely not something that was handed to Anthony in a previous episode, 2 episodes ago. And yeah, it was 2 episodes ago, actually. Surprisingly, it wasn't one episode, because the last thing that I remembered was the Minecraft musical, but I also remembered that uh, there was a little bit of a loose end, I suppose, in which Baby seems to have had let's call it an adverse reaction to Anthony's apology song, which I don't remember being properly addressed in the episode beforehand. So I think that's going to happen right now, because the episode in question today is called Dating Jitters. And I'd love to say there was a description, but this is my passion, so there is no description. So we're just going to guess, I suppose. So the Minecraft musical, they're parking that for right now, potentially, and they're going back to what we all came for, the world's best relationship between between Anthony and Baby, our favorite couple. Oh, and it seems like it's all like the if I just hover over the people thing now on Restream, the interface has changed again. I can just add my guest right now. So welcome, BB.
Hello.
Yeah, it seems like I don't have to click on it anymore. Just like hover over, and it's like it just it overpowers the chat.
Man, it's crazy. It's like you've been gone for some like 13 years or whatever. However long. Right? No, wait. 10. How long was Odysseus off at sea again? It was 13, right?
Um,
Was it
in
10
it,
or
well,
13? God, I don't know.
it was more than 10, because the Trojan War itself was 10 years, so it could have been another. It
Well,
must have
no, I'm
been
okay.
13
I
on top
mean
of that.
like off at sea specifically.
Oh, well, then probably another 10 years, I think. I think he was prophesized to not come back for another 20 years if he did go to the Trojan War. So I guess
Okay.
in total that would have added up to 20.
Okay. Okay. Anyways, yeah, your journey off at Spain really felt like it took a second there. I'm amazed you can remember 2 episodes ago, because I can't remember 1 episode ago. You know what? You know what I remember 1 episode ago? I remember an awful rapping scene, and that's all that's in my head.
Fair enough. I think I know which one you're referring to, but yeah, there've been a couple of those. And yeah, it's just because that part was in my head. I actually, a lot of the time, most of the time when I do these videos, I tend to watch the previous episode back to remind myself. This time I didn't really do that, because the computer was loading so slowly that I couldn't set the streaming time, and then I went to have a bath. So yeah, that's so I am going mostly by, okay, I remember that one thing not being addressed, and then the musical about Minecraft being a thing that was the entire focus of the last episode. So yeah. Also, welcome back to Sense by Buns. I just found your stream. What a good night. I'm glad you think so, and I'm glad that you're back as well, because not everyone returns from stuff like the Music Freaks videos. Welcome to something that is not as good. So on here we've been doing kind
Welcome
of
to
like a
God dang it, not Butter Bunch reviews. Sorry, I've been on and off on Butter Bunch land for a long time now, exclusively. Welcome to Jacob Butter reviews, where the phrase is "Welcome to something even worse than last time."
I mean, yeah. So on here we've kind of done like a I guess a musical trilogy of sorts the past couple of times we rotated these. So we had like the Music Freaks, we had for them reasons Spirit Academy by Misty Firefox, or FAFSA as we like to shorten it here. And then we've had this, My Passion by the Foxy sisters. Um, yeah, they differ in quite a few ways. The only connections were the musicals, and also FAFSA was inspired by the Music Freaks. This was completely independent. This was the first, and to my knowledge, only potentially musical Minecraft roleplay. For now, anyways. We can easily change that at some point. But it is currently. That was really nice, so I had to stay high at least. Well, hopefully you'll stay for the rest of it, even if it gets bad. Because I will say, these streams that we do, they tend to get entertaining when they're bad as well as when they're good. And it seems like it's still processing the video, so we got to stall for a bit longer. Great. It's stuck at 81% processing, apparently. Nope, 82. Okay. It seems like they upload very quickly, but they have to process now, which is not what usually happened in the old restream interface. Don't know why. As soon as they upgraded, it seemed like the process takes much longer, which you would think would be the reverse.
God, Restream doesn't update. I don't know how to tell you this. They're scamming you. They're doing this specifically against you, Jacob. You're the
I don't know
only
why.
you're
I
the
don't know why
one
you
person paying their subscription, and so they're like, okay, we're gonna. How do we update this app to make it even more of a pain for Jacob?
I mean, you just said they don't update, so according to you, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, because they don't. It feels like every time they update, it's always, oh well, they took this away, except for one thing. Whenever you could like actually like move around to specific times and had like the actual time showing up, that was quite convenient. I've used that now because of
Yeah,
the little white live stream.
Yeah, that's still a thing. And also, like I said before, now you can hover over the people, and and it makes it easier to click on chat. I will say though, slight slight downgrade that comes at the expense of that. The icon is much larger, so now the need help button is over the top of the chat. But at least if the chat is underneath everything, then that sort of balances out. Sort of, not really.
Sure. I hope at some point they make it so like, because you can have it show the live chat on the side.
Okay, we're good.
Which is nice. Problem is that chat is gigantic. I wish they made it so that way it was slightly smaller, or better yet, translucent.
So what BB's talking about here is that they have a chat overlay feature, which means that I can, if I wanted to, put everyone's comment on the screen up here rather than clicking on them individually like I tend to and selecting just the ones that I like to read out. But you see the issue there is that everything gets massively shrunken. So
it's huge. You can't see. Also, it occurs now to me. It is translucent. I meant to say transparent, which is technically different.
I mean, very much so. Anyways, the video is prepared, so let's go ahead and continue this. Without further ado, on with the review.
So, baby, since you came up with the musical's concept, would you be interested in writing the scripts and songs?
Since it was your idea, would you consider doing, everything? Okay, that's not everything. There's still, costumes, direction, etc., etc. But that is like the core, like the very beginning portion that, people should be able to contribute to before that. Anyway.
that's indie content creator lifestyle. Oh, you had this cool idea? Awesome. So you can make the music, you can script, you can direct, you can do all that, right? Surely.
That is exactly what happened to me when I made my musical, because I thought I had somebody who would be able to direct that, and then they decided they were going to do the acting in the festival rather than directing. So suddenly I was left with no director for an idea that everyone wanted to see happen, but not participate in themselves because they already made pacts with other people to be in other groups to begin with. So the whole pitching process was useless.
It's so weird hearing the word pact be used so casually there, because I hear that and I think demonic summoning. All right,
Okay.
So it's like, oh, well, they all...
That says more about you, I think.
Everyone already made pacts with the other groups, and it's like, oh, okay.
There was actually one play in that festival that was to do with a religious cult. that was
Sure.
actually previously used in the directing module beforehand, and that was just kind of like expanded upon, which is fair enough. I also noticed that most of the writers, because I did the directing module beforehand, the
Like
writers in the
Alan
writing
Wake! Oh
module.
my god!
Anyway, so they did the directing. So the writers with the writing module, they were given this project called The Room, which meant that they all had to set their play within one particular setting, which means that since a lot of them expanded on what they'd already previously done for the actual performance festival that we had at the end of the year, most of their plays were actually much easier to set up. Now, I think that potentially this was the university's method of trying to cut down on set changes, maybe to help their own budget. But then again, a lot of the stuff was already there. We just reused things that they previously provided, mostly. So yeah, I think mine probably ended up being the most expensive product because mine was not made under that guise. And it also had the most people out of the particular groups.
Please tell me they all made references to The Room.
No, actually.
Ah, dang it.
They had a lot of the writing tutor allegedly gave them like a lot of oversight, so those might have not slipped through the cracks.
Please, baby, please.
Okay, I guess.
As no one else want to do that?
Baby, is it?
I saw that.
Oh my god. I'm glad you saw that because I can't see anything right now. What is happening on the screen currently? This lighting is horrendous. Okay, so if you see in the top left corner, there is a person who just appeared from upstairs who is behind Baby currently, and that's who's just been introduced. And there's also somebody in like the center who was there before asking about the scripts, and they've just disappeared. They straight up don't exist anymore.
It's Peter Parker.
Hey, Tyson, what's up? I'm sorry, that sounded so lame.
No, it didn't.
Well, I saw that.
See,
Yeah, it kind of did.
I think you seem like a nice, talented girl.
I mean, you can still be a nice, talented girl and say lame things. They're not mutually exclusive.
wondered if I could see you again.
You're seeing me right now.
No,
Can I see
you are either entirely flawed or perfect, and there is no in between. This is school. What are you talking about? Flaws are not allowed in school.
What is this, a Disney live-action remake?
Yeah.
I thought we could hang out sometime. Go to the mall, see a movie.
Oh, Tyson, are you getting sweet on Baby?
What? No, not with this voice. I'm like the Chuck character. I would never be sweet on anyone ever, for any reason. Side note, I do like the fact that we actually get somebody who's putting on an actual voice, because half of the voice actors in this production just don't seem to be trying in the slightest. So it's a refreshing change. The other half can sometimes be very surprising, actually.
Just think about it.
Sure, we can go to the mall. Is it okay if we go as a group, though?
And this is the the fate of like everyone's like, I wanted to ask you what a date, and now you've made it awkward. Now I can't say no.
Sure.
Okay, how's tomorrow at 12 p.m.?
Okay, 12 p.m. See you there.
I assume that this is a Friday, so that'll be the weekend. Oh, and then he stays, I guess. Oh, an actual musical change that's appropriate for the scene in question. Having pros
Hello,
for...
sir.
Because we don't do that here. Hold on. Wait. Before we address that, let's just continue this.
Yes, sir. She's the one.
Good. Now, don't fail your mission, son.
Jock dad and Jock son.
Question, why does the soundtrack now, like, why is the music in the background? It sounds like fantasy music. Like you're playing a fantasy MMO right now, and this is what you're hearing.
That might be where the music was sourced from, potentially. Because as far as original music goes, I believe it's only the actual musical numbers that they've composed themselves. So that this could be from an MMO. Also, this worries me a bit because because to to bring this back to Aphmau a bit, which I try not to do for a lot of these videos. Then again, my passion ends up dragging Aphmau back into the conversation multiple times, and you'll see why in a moment. But to bring up Aphmau right now, there is when we reviewed Fanclaw University, we were trying to figure out because that series was not looked back on very favorably by a lot of people. And we're trying to figure out when that happened because it was really enjoyable until a certain point, and that was when the introduction of Xavier happens, because it seemed to be an unnecessary villain drop when there's already a plot that was happening to begin with. Not to mention, I should focus back to Aaron again. We also most about Aphmau, but whatever. So now we're getting seemingly a character who's disguised as a student who might be, in some sort of covert mission, and I am worried again because if this is trying to do something that Aphmau attempted to do and already didn't pull off very well, this show has very little hope of doing that better. So we'll see here.
I will say I'm not gonna put a blanket statement over the MCYT community since I haven't done like an actual study or anything on it, but I will say that because Falcon Claw University introduced a few new characters as not like background characters or anything, but like as important characters that have just recently
plenty
shown
of
up.
them.
And I think maybe that could also be part of it, where I think because I mean, you think about it, they had countless seasons, multiple spin-offs of the same crew, same tropes, same sort of vibes. And so then you had Falcon Claw University that tried doing something different, and that doesn't always work out very well. Sam Gladiator had something very similar with Yandere High, because him, Grion, and Tortoise had all broken up for reasons that to this day still aren't public. And so he had to go get a new best friend character, Einstein, which also didn't go well, but we know why that one happened. But regardless, that season didn't do very well because there was also a bunch of new cast members as well, even as side characters and stuff. And so that also messed with a lot of people's perception, where it's like, oh, well, this isn't even the same thing anymore because there's new characters.
Maybe there is that, but actually, I will say the difference is that with Falcon University, the new characters up until Xavier, we've determined this now, actually worked really, really well. And I'm pretty sure they sort of became mainstays because like when we got to like Mermaid Tales, the Royal Tale, a few of them actually made other appearances. And yeah, like you got to try and cycle in a few new characters eventually. It's kind of the same thing that happened with people like Kim as well in regular My Streets. That being said, I do have another counterexample which sort of goes on what you're saying. The Roommate series by the artist formerly known as Sky Does Minecraft.
Right, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. The issue with that one really is that most of the characters in there were playing themselves, obviously different versions of themselves, but when you have a cast that's formed by Sky, Barney, Jim, and Ross, you can't exactly rotate people who aren't Sky, Barney, Jin, and Ross without it being noticeable. They are not Sky, Barney, Jin, and Ross. And of course, we know what happened to Jin. And also after season 2, Ross sort of had like an epiphany and decided, even though they covered the fact that that like the god version of Ross that he became at the end of season 2 left a shard of himself, which inspired my corporeal fragments theory, but that's another story for another day. That version, the fragment version, left in the first episode of season 3, was then rotated like read into it, and it's like, well, what even is happening anymore? I think by that point, people have grown to invest into like those particular versions of the characters. We've seen them in like the Minecraft teacher series before, in the university one. So that was a much more of a PR nightmare. When it comes to fictional, I say fictional characters, they were, characters that were created entirely in the world of fiction, not based on the personas of the actual creators themselves. there's a bit more of a leeway, but at the same time, if the vid compound is anything to go by, the reaction alone from people seeing all of the a lot of the old voice actors never thought would see it again, that was there is a certain level of attachment that everyone has. I, for one, was shocked that Ross was even there to begin with. I'm sure they patched things up. And between you guys, it makes the stream interesting. Good.
Yeah.
I'm very glad.
Yes, sir. She'll be at the mall tomorrow.
I'll send some men to pick you both up.
Yes, sir. I gotta go. Bye, sir.
You were saying how you were happy that we had at least one character putting on a voice. What I like is that that one character putting on a voice also has a father who's played by someone putting on a voice. It runs in the family.
Yeah, exactly. Jock Dad and Jock Son. I said that before.
The meta runs in the family. It's great.
Okay, you cannot tell me, even with the acoustics of this room, there is no way that that phone call was audible from that distance. If he mentions anything to do with this call, then I am I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do it.
Maybe I'm spoiled by Blender and being able to mess with lighting on a very like minute level. But I gotta say, I'm looking up at this roof, and I have a hard time believing that that light is not leaking down more to the bottom area. I get it's all black, but surely there's something there.
Look, at least the roof has visible light, unlike the ground level.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why the roof level isn't leaking down more.
Oh. Oh my goodness, what just happened? The intro changes every time, but I'm just surprised I forgot the context behind the jump to the floor there. This I remember. That's in the future, by the way. That hasn't happened yet, so they just filmed it first. We technically know how this series ends because of the stuff they made in the future, despite the fact that it didn't have a proper ending.
What just happened? What does that guy mean?
Okay, so he heard everything, because of course he did. You know, it's not like in stage, in anything to do with like theater or performing arts or anything, they mic you up on purpose and also tell you to project on top of that because the acoustics are so bad in some places and that you need to do that. Clearly he wasn't projecting, because why would you project a call like that? Good grief.
Hey, bruv, what you doing here?
Mr. Notes said I had to be in the school's
I don't know
musical,
that anyone has
so-
ever said bruv in a
Mr.
unironic
Notes.
sense. Why is that still a... I guess that's a good point. I guess it's funny to hear about, but why is that a thing in media? Because I gotta say, I know quite a few Brits at this point. I've never once heard anyone really say bruv.
Yeah, because the Brits that you know aren't usually the ones who would be inclined to say bruv like that.
I was spying on the committee, you could say.
Oh, maybe I'll try out as well.
Okay,
You don't
cool,
have
do
to.
it. What? No, please do it. The more people who are in a musical, the better. It's like, I had to deal with like having only 5 actors. Oh, actually, was it 5 actors in the end? Yeah, it was. It was 5 actors. Out of like a cast, I need like at least 8 people. The more people that show up, the better. If you don't get the part that you want, still be in the play. It's back to my street. It's like what Caitlin said. You know, you can agree to, like, even if you don't get the part you want, you'll still be in the play. That was a condition to audition. That's why they got so many people for the Romeo and Juliet stuff. Because they wanted to be Romeo, but they couldn't. And that was part of the
We can make trees for all of you to play as.
Well, I mean, that's usually what happens if you have like an excess of cast. But in this case, it doesn't seem like you would. Then again, Baby hasn't written the script yet, so it could be a musical with just a few people. And if I know performing arts schools like I do, they will probably encourage her to have as few speaking roles as possible, and singing ones as well. Which, a little bit counterintuitive, because the university also told me that, hey, wouldn't it be nice if somebody made a musical that everyone could take part in rather than having all the small groups? Like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Okay, great, you have to cut down the characters. Anyway.
think I'm just being jealous, but I
And
really
who
don't trust
says
that
school
Tyson
doesn't
guy.
prepare you for the real world, you know? I mean, it's just like if you went to the field, you know? Oh, shit, I got this good script for you. Yep, this works. And then you go and you're midway through and they're like, "All right, so we're cutting your budget." And you're like, "Oh
I know how Ralph Bakshi feels now.
no."
It's just
These are
some
great with loads of
new
characters competing
student.
against one another. Yeah, chorus roles and ensemble. It's important. Okay, you might be saying a bit too much, actually.
Oops. Sorry.
Hello there,
We didn't think
Minecraft
anyone was
shirt.
in here.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you know, they're auditioning for a Minecraft musical, so why not?
that'd be alright for you guys to move.
You do know who that is, Ryan.
No.
Who, what is?
That's the
Oh.
leader of Midnight.
Oh, right.
You mean that?
Okay, I'm surprised that people don't know who Midnight is in this school by this point, because they just had a performance at like an assembly with everyone, as well as a very public controversy within
No,
the
but
school
he does.
itself.
He has to. I know he just implied that he doesn't, but he also implied that he does, right? Because it's like, oh, you know who those are, right? No. Okay. And then he explains it, and it's like, oh, you mean that awesome band, implying he knows the band because they're awesome to him.
Great.
We can hear everything you're saying.
Oh, great and powerful Midnight, would you mind leaving the sound system booth so my partner and I can work on getting it ready for the musical auditions?
Yep.
That sounded so weird, dude.
Yep, that got me to
We were
cringe.
just leaving.
Not as weird as bruv.
Come on, Chad, let's go.
Okay, now Anthony seems to be putting on a voice as well. I don't think it was always this gruff before.
What did I
Everyone
do
is gruff
myself?
today. Rachel! Anyway.
I've never been out with a boy before.
God, I
never.
always hate blocking like this. God, I never, okay, I want to be honest with you. So I never complain about this, but I have seen it enough times at this point in Gotcha and Minecraft on your channel that I have to whine about it now. Okay, look. Okay, this is not good blocking, because this is the kind of blocking that when I see it, I'm thinking, oh, they're cornering somebody, right? They're trapped, right? They in fact, they're even closer. They're close to the camera, and there's no like depth of field either, which I get. You can't really. It's hard. You can't do that easily, but still, look, it's weird to me because it's like they're either the focus or they're some sort of antagonist, and neither is the case in this shot or scene. God, can we stop? Give the person some space. I get it's not realistic. I understand this is the way people are in real life. I understand this is how a room in the people in it would be. But it's not... No, thank you.
Okay, hold on. So first of all, yeah, the cinematography in this series has never been good. Like, almost ever, except for during one musical number, which was again the song that Midnight the band performed in front of the entire school. That was pretty good. However, yeah, in this case, the real solution would be just moving the camera, because it looks like she's being cornered right now because we see her being framed. They framed it being small in almost a corner. She's centered, but you know what I mean. Like she's in the distance. And in the front, we see the characters who seem to have, who seem to imply, you know, the position of power in this particular instance. But however, if we just move it to the side where it seems like they might be on like a same different level or something, playing with proxemics a bit, then you can actually make this shot work. Then again, I would also say that this series as a whole needs more close-up shots of the actual characters' faces to cut between them, much like you would see in a lot of live action series or in My Street. And that would actually probably help with the blocking as well. Even if the blocking doesn't change, it would just seem like it's positioned better, because then you can have the realistic positions in real life but still frame them properly.
Which, you know, I will say it's very timely to bring up My Street, at least in this instance, right? Because the trailer recently released for the next season.
Well, it's time to bring up My Street in any situation, I suppose. And yeah, I'm surprised that no one's actually I'm surprised no one's actually asked me like, "Oh yeah, usually so just talk about the trailer or something." I'm sure that's going to happen in the comments or in the next review that will be at a better time than this one.
I probably would have brought it up if I hadn't already rambled about it with Aiden on the stream on the Butter Bunch at some point.
Okay. I appreciate not going down too many rabbit holes, despite how fitting that one would be for this channel. Anyways,
Sure.
musical number time. Which, by the way, what a great time to do
Wait,
this.
okay,
Like,
you know what to do. You know what to do. No. I just built an excuse for you. I just said, oh no, you know, let the field do art. I get why they can't do that. Then you did it. What do you mean? You want to focus on the subject and had them a bit blurry. You could have played with it. I know you can do them separately now. I just saw them going to focus on separate times. Like I can see the field in the background. Look behind the person on the bed. Use the god. Dang it.
Okay, I will also say from a narrative point of view, because that's what I tend to whine about mostly. We've just seen we've had 2 seconds of baby in this scene, and then Sugar and Taya, who are in her house again for some reason, and now after only a couple of seconds, we're into the first musical number. Despite the fact there should have been more of a build up to this, like at least a little bit more of a conversation, all things considered.
My mind is spinning
Yeah.
1,000 miles. I gotta do the
No.
right
Okay,
thing.
again.
Yes.
Oh my god. The depth of field covered up the singer just now. Did you see that?
I did.
That's crazy.
I think
Guys. Cinematography is an art form. Maybe you learn how to hold the brush, please. Sweet Jesus. This one scene irritates me so much.
BB, this isn't even the worst that my passion has been with cinematography. A lot of the songs will just end up filling the character from like a window in the building outside while they're doing a solo. This is nothing. You see nothing yet.
Should I back down?
Oh, there you go. See? Like this. What is this shot? Why do we need this here?
I can forgive back. No, rephrase. I can forgive a shot towards a back angle during musicals if it's a film or something, because that's just the luxury that a camera has. It is not a thing that you do on stage, but I can forgive it if it's something like this. However, that doesn't mean that I will forgive it for an eternity.
I guess that's also comes back to like, the idea of on stage where the rule number one they say is never give your back to the audience, which is sort of another problem we had with that other shot we were talking about before, the one with Sugar and Taya cornering Baby.
No,
we couldn't see either one of those.
No, and it is, but what I'm saying is I would normally forgive it in this instance, but the problem is that now they're lingering on the back, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's really hard to get in when you're a Roblox character. Who said anything about Roblox? This is Minecraft. What do you mean?
it's the same shape.
It actually isn't.
Yeah.
Roblox characters look more like buff, shrunken head people.
Sure. You can do that too with Minecraft.
You can, yes, but it requires editing of it.
Sure. What? Why?
Oh no,
what?
the camera got too close to me. Time to run away from it.
Oh my god. No, you know what would have been cool here? Wait, no,
This
see, this is the shot I would have landed on regardless. That way they got here was wrong!
This is the best shot in the video so
okay. far. Okay, look.
Apart from the one with Tyson before. That shot was pretty good as well. This one is the second best.
This single shot, fantastic. Great. The way you got here, by the way, I can see the green screen up above her, but regardless. The way you got here is not the way that I would have done it. And I said wrong, maybe I'm just emotional, okay? But look, it's not so. Here's the thing. Whenever it's okay, ignoring you're leaning on the back too much, right? Which carried on even inside, right? Because even whenever she turned around, you would have been on the back. The way you would fix that while also keeping, because you can, okay, you could turn this whole song up, and because this is kind of the "Let Me Go" segment here, where it's like you can kind of up the up things a little bit. You can up the energy and the flow and things.
Go.
Not that "Let Me Go." Or wait, sorry, no, "Let It Go." But no, what I would have done is I would have stuck to the outside of the house, and I would have maybe done a hard cut towards that door as she's running, and then as soon as you hit that, you can see the door slam open, and you can like follow her off to the balcony as the music and all that ramps up, and this is where you get to this shot.
And from this point, my passion loves to do shots where the camera will just like run away from the people as well. So they're probably gonna do like an extreme zoom out at some stage in this song.
No.
Or right now. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, hold on. You're lingering here for a while, which isn't bad. I'm okay with that. What is bad is how you lingered here for so long and no one decided to call it the green screen. Yeah, I thought they might have stayed here for like a second or two, and it would be like, okay, maybe they missed it. They couldn't have missed it at this point?
I'm surprised there even is a green screen, quite frankly, because in most Minecraft sets, you don't need them. I don't know what's happening here.
Which, by the way, I want to make a point here that if they know how to use green screen, that mirror back in her room could have been used.
This is true. They have used the mirror in the past for the Halloween night song in the Halloween special, but yeah, in this case, yeah, because like with mirror techniques, there's a whole like study on how to use mirrors in cinema, and a lot of them comes down to a character's identity. You know, they're trying to look at themselves. In fact, there's actually in episode like 2 or 3 of My Passion, there's a song about taking a good look in the mirror, sung by Baby Sugar and Taya. And here we are in a scene with Baby Sugar and Taya.
Sure, but I just mean it because earlier one of the thoughts that I had, and I didn't bring it up because I again it was same thing as depth of field where I figured, oh, maybe they don't know how to do this, right? It's a little bit more difficult. Where I'm proven wrong again, but I don't know. It's weird. They have the tools and they know how to use them, but they don't know where to use them. It's whatever. But because all you would have needed to do is during that scene where they're talking to her and they're like rambling, you could have had a separate camera recording them during that moment, or even just gotten random like other shots later and been smart about how you place them. And you could have put a green screen on that mirror, and you could have placed that bit onto the mirror so it looks like it's actually mirroring it when it's just seeing another clip.
That is true. The only issue with that in My Passion specifically is that the camera rarely ever stays still. So I don't know what they use for this, whether it's Blockbuster, CMD cam or whatever, but they seem to always have the shot tracked to some degree. Whether it's like panning across, whether it's like zooming in, zooming out, there's rarely ever a still moment when it comes to them filming. Which means it would have been a logistical nightmare to do like a mirror effect with their camera technique. If they actually held on the shot, it would be way easier.
Okay, but like that's not an excuse, you know? Like just
it's an explanation, not an excuse.
Sure, like I get that they don't know how to operate a camera, but like I'm literally saying just put a second camera there in the corner. So that way you have that recording, and then
or in this case that would probably translate in Minecraft roleplay to having another person filming them from their Minecraft account.
Sure. Or again, you also brought up they have other camera like mods and stuff. I imagine there's probably a way to put up separate cameras.
I think there is a way in Blockbuster, but I haven't looked into it too much because every time I tried to use Blockbuster it crashed me. So
sure. But regardless, there's multiple ways, I'm sure. So use your favored way and do that and just stick it onto the mirror.
Oh, there you go.
Not a fan of the bobbing. Not the worst travesty, but you know.
Yeah, okay, and also okay, to go back to the song itself now, another recurring problem is again projection. Because this is the point in the song where you would think that, you know, the music itself increases in volume. Whoever composed the music for this kind of like they understood the assignment in this case, but then it like gets betrayed by the vocals that get used because you still have is this a mistake? Or is this a first date? Like, come on, project. Give us like the belting voice you got before. We've heard Baby scream in rage before. I am aware that this actor can do that. Foxy Baby is able to project.
Here's what I think happened. Because, and we saw these two other characters run out, and I brought up how, whenever she, like, we could have her, like, storming out the door, like, running through, and you can have everything build up, like, there, and it could be a lot more energetic. I'm almost wondering if that was the initial intent, because if you remove the music and you just look at the visuals, it's clear that around this point, things are getting more energetic, but you can't tell with the music. So I almost wonder if this had a different vision in mind in the scripting phase, and maybe even the directorial phase, and then they changed it later, either for time or budget or skill or whatever.
Yeah, this this kind of sounds like a lot like Aiden Mind's creative process, where sometimes whether it's for one of my shows or his, because usually we write the scripts together if people don't know, then I'll put in some sort of like, you know, visual cue of some kind, like some like big description of how like the camera's supposed to work, particularly, or what's supposed to be implied, like a reaction or anything really, and then Aiden will tend to blatantly ignore some of that if he deems it to be too complicated, and so he'll try to like downscale it if it's for his shows, especially. If it's for my shows, he'll be, you know, he's determined that it's probably not as a good an idea, or I'll just undo the damage. But in the case of his, like, yeah, no, we're not doing this. We need to cut this down. Mrs. Dysart particularly, where it's like, you know, we need to do something here other than just have the characters stand and talk.
No, it's undoing the damage is very difficult in art. You know what undoing the damage is? It's called making a note. It's called making another draft.
But sometimes making another draft. Yeah, in the case of when it comes to gacha projects, I don't like to discard footage that other people have sent me. So sometimes I'll try to like re-edit it, or like, you know, do some different camera angles, or try to mask around it or something, rather than having to, you know, have them do everything again, because most of the time they just won't do it again anyway. Yeah. In the case of like redoing the damage, for example, the biggest example I can think of is in the Mutant Girl episode 6 remake, where I had to give Sebastian eyebrows in post because Aiden didn't turn on the eyebrows.
Sweet Jesus.
Exactly.
He saved him.
For that one scene.
Oh,
okay. I was not expecting this.
Okay, take a deep breath. Take a moment to chill.
Okay, wait, why did it flicker there?
Because it was, I think that was the effect. It was like, because it was flickering at the same time as the drum screen, so it was like a boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, but why though?
Because dramatic effect.
You know, it would be dramatic if their music fit their blocking and cinematography.
Yeah, so finally I get to complain about the lyrics, which is my favorite thing to do in songs, is complain about the lyrics that people have put in. So now we have...
That's the second opportunity they could have used to up the energy. They've had twice now that they could have done that, right? Because what they could have done... Because if you think about it, that's where you see, like, in dubstep videos, where it's, like, flickering, and then it's, like, then the bass drop. That's where that would have been.
Okay, but I like that they didn't do that, because again, my one of my biggest pet peeves with the music freaks is the fact that nearly all of the songs have some sort of like massive bass drop that is just like in the middle of them, Because again, if you're using pre-existing songs, if you like that particular style, you're going to end up using that. And again, Rosie Cossie was quite creative in trying to account for that by having a lot of them be like, well, those moments be the moments of like the flashbacks, the photographic moments, and whatever. But that doesn't always work. And in the case of this musical, the fact that we actually have more than one person coming in, this is the advantage that My Passion has over the Music Freaks. It actually has original songs and therefore can use the medium of a musical to its advantage a lot more than the Music Freaks can. Most of the time it doesn't do that, but it's able to do so. And in this case, we have we had Baby in the chorus not projecting, and Taya now, not Taya, Sugar, saying now, take a deep breath, take a moment to chill, despite the fact that she seems pretty relaxed right now in the vocalization. You made a vid 10 hours ago, it's doing on the Facebook channel. You're still on the list, by the way. We will get to your channel eventually, don't worry.
I'm very proud of you. But also, it comes back to that thing where it's like they have the tools, they know how to use them, they don't know when to use them. And
10 episodes in, never figured it out yet.
New, but you give it a chance. It's like a first dance.
I think what might have happened in the psyche of this one, right, is that this was designed as a very experimental show to play with all their fancy tricks.
And they didn't play with them. This is the same quality as episode 1.
No, that's the thing. I think it was designed like that, and then as it actually went through, they immediately got too scared to actually experiment. And so you got what they did.
Imagine if I did that with Muse and Girl. It's like, nah, I can't be bothered to figure out all this stuff that is wrong with it. I'm just gonna keep using the terrible chroma keying, the lack of like voice mode, the lack of like audio leveling, and
well, the thing is, right? Because I mean,
and no angles.
Because I mean, we know people who have voiced their fears of like trying new things for the sake of like learning all that, and they don't want to mess it up and they want to get it right the first time. And maybe that's what happened with this, except this person wasn't expecting to go into that mindset immediately after launching this. Maybe that's what happened. They just got cold feet after already jumping into the water, and they're like, well, time to write it out.
That would be... I hope that's not the case. Anyway, back to what I was going to complain about just now. So I was going to say that for once, not that I'm the hugest fan of using autotune to the level that My Passion has in certain songs. Not this one, really. This one I was going to say, it seemed to be okay. And admittedly, I think this is probably one of the best vocal performances from Sugar's VA that I've heard personally. Because he's at least like able to sort of do something. But it's like, this is like probably her comfortable range. Then Taya comes in and immediately ruins that point by something like I don't know, the T1000.
But you must embrace.
But you must embrace. You see what the problem is.
Fly high. This might be a mistake. It's your first day.
Okay, I believe that Sugar sing a different meter now to what Baby was singing before in the exact same song. This is the kind of thing that you catch if you're like directing the singers particularly, which I assume that Foxy Babe was, or maybe it was Foxy Angel at this point.
I hope there was a director for this show at all.
I think the sisters directed it between themselves. I think in the most cases, whenever the character who plays Angel is not on screen, that's Foxy Babe's actual sister, Foxy Angel, who is behind the camera in these instances and probably was mostly directing at this point. As far as the singing goes, I'm not sure who did that part, but that whoever was responsible for that in this particular case didn't coordinate with the singers. Oh wait, we need to do it this way. I mean, I will say, for people who don't know this, like when I first started, making voice acted projects with people, I pretty much exclusively would like bring them in and then direct them like on call. Then afterwards, for different reasons, I ended up fizzling that out. It wasn't just the one event, by the way. It was like a combination of things. And now that the VAs will send me stuff, and then I'll say, okay, I need this, and this again for XYZ reasons, and then that will repeat that process.
Which for is the record, I do still miss the era where we were off on call doing things. That was a lot of
I understand that, but the exception that I make to this rule is when it comes to singing. So whenever I've collaborated with other people to do other like singing stuff, I will be on call with them, and I will and I'll do my best because like the thing is I can't actually hear from their instrumental like how they're gonna match up to it, so I have to kind of guess. But I still, especially because if I've written the songs myself, it's pretty easy to do this. I'll be able to like determine like, okay, you need to like theater more projection here. This meter does not work here, or this person did this one this way, so you need to match that person. I can't get that person back. More often than not, I'll have all of the singers that are in one project in one call at one time, so we can work that out together in one go. In this case, I'm guessing that the VA for Sugar sent in the vocals at some later stage and then was not corrected. That's probably what happened.
Yes, it's something new, but you've got your friends to help you through.
Because you're going as a group. Don't think I forgot that.
What? Okay, 3 times now that they give up the energy. And also they lingered on absolutely nothing there for a second. But
again, the problem that a lot of people have when instrumentals kick in is they have no idea what to do.
What should I do?
Wow, it's almost like it got more slow.
This I can understand, because sometimes when it gets to the bridge of a song, which is where we're at right now, then it kind of like takes a step back for a second and then goes back to the energy of the chorus, implying the chorus has energy to begin with, but that's the idea in principle.
I have no idea where to run to, where to run to, where to run to.
You're not running anywhere, so...
Yeah, you're literally sitting.
Yeah, this would have been a good time to maybe potentially have a like running through like the halls of a house or something.
No, not even that actually. Now I think about it, they should have done it. They should have done it where they would probably have to make another copy of the house or something elsewhere to do this, but it would be cool.
Got the green screen for it.
They do. It'd be cool if while there's, because they could have this one moment get more and more like fast and almost desperate, and you could have her run out of her room to enter her room, to run out and just continuously entering her own room, saying how she can't get out and all that.
Okay, I know this is not what you meant, but I'm just imagining the Scooby-Doo chase sequence with the doors now.
Sure, except it's the same room. Where actually, it's just an endless loop.
I had like a different idea potentially where like every time it goes like where to run to, like every time it's like a different room or something. So that would have been a good time to use the windows, by the way, because you can see it like the different windows, and it cuts to her each time saying where to run to in a different room of the house. You know, so like she literally does not know where to run to because she ends up in the exact same type of spot in front of the window. Again, using the medium to your advantage.
What it's gonna take to show me how I feel, keep from
or okay, an amalgamation of both of our ideas. She runs out of the room, and then she goes to like the different rooms, but it's almost like this is Control for context here. I got this a little bit off inspiration from Control as I'm saying this now. But in Control, there's like you have a hotel area that you can reach, and it works off of dream logic, which is how you imagine, right? Amalgamations of memories and stuff. I like the idea of entering different rooms in the house, but they're still somewhat similar to this, and there's still like the bed frame in the window. And as you go, there's more and more doors that you could enter. Like you see, there are different options, but every time you try to go in one, it's always the same sort of vibe. Like it's again an endless cycle, but it's still different rooms, but you just can't exit the one.
Yeah, that would probably require them in this case to there's again not just a copy of a house in this case, but to build an entirely different set.
No, yeah, of course, but I mean, it would be cool, you know? And you already have the blueprint of the house, right? Like you're not making entirely new things, you're making the same things and just reordering them.
Assuming of course like that's something that World Edit can help with a lot. But then again, we've found thanks to Aiden again that a lot of people are very hesitant to use World Edit for whatever because they don't want to mess it up.
Sure,
Again, another example
I
we were
didn't want
saying
to out
earlier.
him there, but yeah. I was trying to keep it a little bit vague, but yes.
Again, he's not the only one. Just because we brought him up so many times in this video already, it just kind of we're more on theme than they are. During instrumentals, I just zoom in on the background characters one by one in sync with the music. I mean, that's another advantage of an ensemble, by the way. You know, the more people involved, the more you actually have a chance to do that. Oh, it's not a perfect solution, but hey, at least it's something. I would also suggest like adding the idea of like characters doing something during some of those moments. Like if it happens to be like a performance moment, you have like them dancing or something. Here's a good Aiden example to counterbalance, you know, how much we've we've teased him in this video. In one of the Fallen Angels original songs, that in the remake version specifically, actually, because in the original version he lingered on a shot for 24 seconds, and we memed that to death. But in the remake version of Wings, there's like a difference where he starts like the music actually has like 24 seconds instrumental still. It's the same song, but this time he actually shows the different reactions of the characters, not necessarily a zoom in necessarily, but at least a shot of each of them, and then as the instrumental, you know, as like the beat kicks in, suddenly the characters start dancing, and then afterwards you go back to the singer and they're clearing their throat, then they start performing, and then you go into the more abstract visuals of the actual song. So that's a better way to kind of to do that, is like different things with the instrumental, so it's not like the same thing over and over and over again, even though that is better than what they're doing here still.
Yeah, whenever you're also wanting to think, okay, what should characters do in the background? I think it's important to look at video games, because in video games get a bit more liberty with it, but video games do, because you play them, right? And you really pay attention to what all the random side characters are doing. It's they're usually doing some random busy work relative to them, right? Like it's like an endless cycle of like, oh, I'm flipping through these papers, I'm looking around, I'm going from one corner of the room to another, right? I'm looking at this technology, right? The only real exceptions that I've ever really seen are like first responder or armed characters that are like veteran, like I'm down to business type characters. And even then, there's still the built-in character reason. They're usually holding something like weapons in the case of video games, right? So I think it's important to note that video games also pull that trick just to make the world feel a bit more lively. Just have them do busy work.
Yeah. Then that also comes into some, older video games as well. Having idle animations was another way to do that.
Right. Yeah.
And so the tips I will take notes. You're getting the full, Minecraft / gacha review experience here. Entertainment and genuine creative advice.
Is this for real, or is this what it's gonna take?
Hold on. Is this for real, or is this what it's gonna take?
Right?
What does that mean exactly?
Okay, hold on. Keep going.
Yeah.
I want to see something.
Oh, okay.
Show me how I feel.
Okay.
Keep me from making a
Yep, that's what I
mistake.
figured. They just wanted to rhyme it.
Oh, it also was like it was also the beginning of a sentence. It was like, okay, this is what it's going to take to show me I'm making a mistake. Okay, but
I wanted to
Alright,
see
fine.
if it was there, because you made a good point, right? It doesn't make any sense. But I was like, okay, what if they couldn't figure out a lyric here, and they knew they wanted this lyric, so they're like, okay, what do I get to just make it rhyme?
Oh, hold on a second. Okay, so first of all, we've got Josh in the stream again now, but also Leon Tarkshina has showed up here. I'm
Hello.
very surprised, but welcome. Especially given his
Hi.
content, but yeah.
Is
B Butter Aiden to bet? No.
I'm not.
No, she is not.
And don't you ever say that again about me. I swear to God.
In fact, we've been talking a lot about Aiden on this stream, actually, to a surprising degree, actually.
But no, no, I'm not.
Oh,
Completely different art forms.
You've had crossovers. You've both done Minecraft stuff.
I've been in Minecraft stuff. I haven't made Minecraft stuff.
Okay, so I thought that was the bridge. That was actually just the post-chorus, I guess. Okay, fine. Still a moment where,
Maybe this
you
is a
know, to
mistake.
relax.
I think it's
You just went over whether it was a mistake or not. Why do we need that line after we just had a song about this? The core principle of a lot of musical songs is that if a character can't portray something through movement, they speak it. If they can't portray it through speech, they sing it. So we've just had her sing it. We don't need her to speak it now.
Yeah, come on. We saw how you acted around Tyson.
We saw that one singular interaction you had around Tyson. That clearly shows that, although granted, he's better than Anthony already just by virtue of not stealing one of her songs and also not, you know, calling her a pretty princess all the time and insulting her and berating her and making her life miserable. You know what? Never mind. Tyson, go for it.
He just seems like a nice guy. Don't you think he's moving a little fast?
nah. I mean, you're going in a group.
Ooh. What's
Wanted to.
weird? They aren't.
What?
It's just as they're talking, I got lost on who was speaking, and as I pay attention, I'm realizing, oh, because no one's bobbing their head. They're doing it right at the start, and then they just stop.
Another advantage of you know, cutting between the different characters rather than having one singular shot is that you don't have run into that problem as much. But yeah, they haven't caught on to that with My Passion.
You both, if you would come. I'm thinking of asking Mimi and Taya as well.
It's not gonna be as good as my Mimi.
In fact, also I think they recorded the bobbing separately and then like put the actual voice lines over the top later, which is why you get a lot of awkward pauses. I remember there was one episode where I just spent like a full scene going pause, pause, pause every time they spoke.
Lola might be some good help.
I
Pause.
just realized, what am I going to wear?
Oh,
Time to call me.
Every time I do that,
Oh.
people realize like, oh no, I can't unhear it now. Yeah, that's the issue.
no, that's not it. Did you hear that? Like, wow, what weird line delivery.
I'm desensitized to that, but yes, what weird line delivery.
Like, they just screamed for no reason. Like, no one else is doing it. In fact, they weren't even doing it until that one line.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, the Foxy Babe is quite good at portraying like baby's actual, you know, nerves and anxiety when that does emerge, except when singing, because that's when she goes like, "Is this a mistake? My voice doesn't even quake." I don't know, whatever.
Mimi speaking.
Oh, great.
Mimi, we have an outfit emergency.
Oh, okay. Actual creative visual here. We have a shot of Mimi in the top corner here. This actually seems to be cut decently. This might be the first actual creative use of editing that we've had in this video or this series actually.
Mimi needs to know who for. Baby's going on a date tomorrow and needs help.
Oh.
Whoa. Okay, wait, why did the camera follow? Oh, why did the camera follow her just then?
Because it was like, I mean, yeah, sure, it would have been fun if you zoomed off, but I mean, come on, that right there. Okay, this is also quite good.
No,
I
I'm
will
okay
give
with-
props for credit
I
where
just-
credit is due. This is a funny visual.
I just wish she ran off the screen and then you see her running across and screaming, right? It's weird that in the corner you could see the camera follow her as she's running out of the room.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Mimi, you
Which
still
also means I
there?
haven't sped the footage up.
Right? See, like,
At the door.
okay, see, they could have kept the camera there and just kept it in that one spot and she's gone. And then they would have been like, Mimi, are you there?
Okay, yeah, they could have done that, and I did see this happen in an Aphmau minigame once, where Aphmau was calling Aaron, and then she's like, "Oh, yeah, you want to play a minigame? My mom's not home." So, and then you hear like Aaron, then you hear like a or something like that in the background. Then he rings the doorbell, so that does work. However, in this instance, I'm gonna cite Tom and Jerry as an example of where, you know, adding the more layers actually makes it funnier. There's a particular scene. We're gonna pretend that Mammy Two Shoes wasn't involved in this for a second. Where Tom invites, I think it was like there's a bunch of different cats. They have a party in the house or something, and then Mammy Two Shoes receives like a call of some kind, and then like it's instead of it cutting to her just like at the house catching Tom and the other cats in the act, we actually get her seeming to like rev up like an engine or something as she starts to like race down, and then you see like her running across the street forwards, like going, and then crashes through her own door, which crashes into Tom's face. Then he like opens that, then he sees her there, and then the rest of the scene plays out the way you would expect. That's just more layers on top of what was already going to be funny to begin with. I think that's what they were trying to do here, where it's like, we're going to show Mimi rush across the entire city in like real sped up time using cartoon logic, and just show, okay, this is how she got here.
I'm okay
I think
with
they
that.
work both ways.
I think it could work. I think you can have your cake and eat it too. I think we could just have both.
I think this is an attempt to have both, because we have but the thing is that one visual doesn't work with the other too much, like entirely, because if you have like rushing across, then we know what's happened to her, rather than saying like here, where it's like, Mimi, where are you? And then the surprise is that she's at the door. In this case, there is no surprise, so I would remove this particular part and just had her like at the door.
Yeah, but it's not a real surprise, right? You know exactly what's going to happen as soon as she disappears.
It's also because we know what's happening because we've already seen that idea happen multiple times. The mini game that I mentioned before with Aphmau is not the only time I've seen that, but still, for the characters, I think, again, for someone who hasn't seen that for the first time, they'll get the surprise. If people haven't seen it before, it's like, oh wait, no, I know what's happened now. You get to fill in your own blanks rather than having it actively presented to you, I suppose. But in this case, with actually presenting it to you, you don't need the surprise. It's one of those situations where, like, yeah, you have there's too much cake. There's two different flavors of cake, and you only want to eat one of them because they'll just cancel each other's flavors out.
Sure.
The visual shot of the street looked sus. Again, get used to that.
Okay, fine. Okay, here's another one, right? It's weird. I guess it's not. It's almost too normal to have them come down and open up the door and see her try to, like, open it. I would have almost preferred they stuck with the lunacy and just had her run through the... Don't even show it. She's here... Just have her run into the house, barge into the room, and there she is.
Just like right behind her, yeah.
She has... You see her run across the street, and then you cut back to the room. Hey, wait, you there? She just barges right into the room. No, there's no context. She's now in the scene. She's there. You have to deal with it. I wish they didn't come down here and open it. I wish he just showed up.
Yeah. Also, there's another example where Aphmau style breaking of doors would have also worked.
Mimi, did you run from your house here?
Don't explain the
joke. And again, yeah, exactly. If you have to explain the joke, there is no joke, to quote the Joker.
Which is another thing. That's the thing I want to point out. If my idea of her just running into the room happened, I don't want anyone to question it either. I want them to just roll with it.
I mean, I'd be able with one person going like, what, like that, and that's it. You know, we won't do any more than that.
This is terrible timing.
Is that the mother character? There we go. Yeah.
To the mall with the girl.
I was gonna say I recognize the voice of the mother, but I was like, wait a minute, she wasn't in the scene beforehand. She was just like, I guess she was just staring from the open kitchen.
I need to get a new outfit for tomorrow's outing to the mall.
Hang on a second, that makes no sense.
What? Why does it not make sense? Oh, actually, yeah. I guess you would, if you go to the mall, you would think you want to get a different outfit when you're at the mall itself. That actually, yeah, I can see what she means in that regard. Then again, could you look up from her phone to talk to her daughter for a second, please?
Stop, Mom.
You kids on your phones these days.
Okay, but take Angel.
No, I do like well, I don't, but it's a bit odd because it's like, this is girl stuff, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wait a
It's like
what?
you would think that the mom would know
Yeah.
about girl stuff.
Potentially, yeah. Also, I wonder if it's like, okay, yeah, take Angel to the outing or take Angel to the mall now to get the outfit.
This is a very cute
Ideally
one, by the way.
to get the outfit, but yeah.
This is
Yeah,
very
both-
small though, but it's quite cute.
Yeah, looks like the room that I had in Galicia, which I deliberately picked the smallest room on purpose because it was the one with the longest bed. But
I'm
anyway.
pretty sure this is just straight up the attic, but you know.
See, this is what I was saying before. I knew someone was going to randomly bring up my streets, coming back, or the trailer, actually, referring to what is shown at VidCon. And yes, I was absolutely glad about that. I happened to be watching at the time, and without giving away too much, I have not been that excited for something in quite some time. Like, I'm not normally a trailer person, but that got me.
It's I also am excited, which I don't know if I was really prepared for, right? Because I wasn't.
No, because you were on the guys that was never going to come back ever.
No, absolutely. That's the thing. For the longest time, Aiden has been grasping at straws to be like, guys, look, and I'm like, dude, let's think maybe it's something else. And then they actually showed the trailer, and now there's evidence that and not only that, but they must have spent a fortune. I don't know who did, but someone spent a fortune for that ending of the VidCon bit. I mean, they have the trailer. They flew out the main cast for the base VidCon, and then they grew up a separate cast of the My Street series just to show up for like 5 minutes and disappear. And then they got a whole concert. And then they got a poster for those people that showed up for 5 minutes on camera to sign. Like, that must have cost a pretty penny.
I missed the poster part because I had to leave, but yeah.
Most people did. Aiden didn't even know about it. It was mentioned because actually Aphmau forgot about it. She was about to leave it, and then you could hear Jason whisper in her ear because the mic was close by, and he goes like posters, something like that, and she's like, oh, by the way, guys, season 7 posters are being signed right outside the door, and then that was that. Of
course.
But no, I mean that's so much money that they have to spend on top of the trailer existing at all that it's very hard for me to reason it out as, oh, this is a publicity stunt, right? This has
Isn't that what trailers always are publicity stunts? That's the entire point. They are publicity.
Yeah, but it shows there's actual evidence, and then they spend that much money on top of it for the end of VidCon. It's like, this feels like a bit too much expense for it to be bull, right? So at that point I was like, okay, it's probably happening, which got me quite excited because I didn't think it was going to happen, period. But it also makes me want MCD more. But
they bring back Ultra Nova. No.
Oh man, MCD just has all those classic elements that BB loves. I love my little medieval inspired mythology and the mystery and the divine wars and all that. It's very cool to
me. And the
me.
Drama.
Yes. Big stakes.
Yeah. No, I absolutely see what you mean. and if there is another thing that is likely to come back in some sort of way, it would be MCD.
Which is what she's promised, by the way. If you go back to the MCD
or Minor Demons, but probably MCD because of the branding purposes. Because people don't realize, but Minor Demons, like a lot of the writing in there does not suit the current audience that Aphmau has. So,
I will say, I don't like Minor Demons that much, so I don't really care if it comes back or not. That was a fan favorite, not my thing.
I mean that's fair, but I mean as far as like actual like audience reception goes, it's going to be that's the other one that would be likely to make a return of some kind.
Yeah, for for me, if I right at the top, which she said she would do for the record, if you go to the MCD Rebirth playlist in the description, it says this will come back someday. Point blank, this will come back someday. And there's like a little
but also didn't she say that season 7 would happen last year at VidCon, and you didn't believe that at the time because there was no evidence? So why would a description be any different?
Well, I know that's what I'm saying though, which is like she said it would come. I would hope that it does really come back one day. Like that's the one, and you're like, oh, well, if anything would. It's like, well, she said it should. I don't know if that, like. So I don't know. I mean, I guess at some point she clearly did want that to come back, and hasn't changed the playlist for some reason. Also, Void Paradox. I'd like Void Paradox.
Yeah.
I don't know what that did as far as expense or anything. I don't know if it's. I feel like it was popular enough to register a season 2, but
yeah. Well, so you would think that a lot of the things that I was making at the time would be popular enough, but then again, what was the threshold for her? Not My Street numbers,
right.
therefore a failure. That was like, oh no, this didn't get the reception I was hoping for. It's like, well, you didn't give it enough time to do so. My Street took years.
No, but I really liked the concept of Void Paradox. The aesthetics were very cool. The like that rain fight between Lawrence and like the Shadow Lawrence, or whatever I forget they're actually called, was epic. I mean, that was really cool. And that one didn't even have that much animation, right? Just with Minecraft alone, she made something really sick with that. So,
well, yeah. See that this is what I've always said. You don't need like the hugest budget in the world to portray something, especially if the writing is tight enough. Then that's all that really it boils down to. Like if this series had better writing, we could probably excuse most of what's happening here. But yeah, it's the pitfall that everyone seems to fall down on. Also, I guess I'll just say for the record right now that that people are going to ask, like, okay, what do you think about it being fully animated? I don't care because, again, I've said before in the past that the visuals to me are always secondary to something. They are a great addition, and again, I've like gone into the ideas of like doing like visual storytelling of some kinds, and I've mentioned before how that stuff gets cut out. But again, with the stuff that was being done in what drew me into My Street as a whole, particularly, was like the earlier seasons because I was already invested in the story like before the times of Emerald Secret, for example, or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I remember that Afmal said at one point that she was not sure how to top the editing or the technicalities of season 6. Clearly, she's found an answer since then, but that was a concern that she had beforehand.
Right.
But I will say as well that's an aspect. It's like, well, yes, absolutely. Creators should strive to evolve their crafts in some ways, but again, that can also just mean in terms of storytelling, not necessarily going, above and beyond. If you want to do that, and you've got the animation department now, go for it. But ultimately, it's unnecessary, but nice.
That kid video money really is paying for that animation.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, and not to mention as well, there's some animation in those kid videos that seem to be like, okay, well, she's improving in that aspect too. This could be put to some use eventually, and it is. So there you go.
I think it's interesting. I like the animation aspect. I think it shows an evolution. I think that's always good. And Aiden had mentioned that he wasn't sure how he felt about like the height for like the more realistic like character models, right? And like the proportions, which I'm actually okay with the majority of them, except for Caitlyn. Something's off about Caitlyn. I don't like Caitlyn's model. It's very odd to me. I couldn't tell you why, but something about it is wrong.
Fair enough. I don't quite remember that. I haven't seen the trailer in a couple of days.
Sure. Also, I think it's weird that they gave everyone like hips and boobs, but they could.
That's always been a thing. That's always been a thing in like thumbnails as well. Like even back in like the days of MCD, that was a thing in thumbnails that was edited.
Well, I'm okay
I'm not
with
surprised
that.
by.
Well, I'm okay with that. What's weird to me is they did that, but they couldn't do a skirt. Because they have her like being flung around by Phoenix Drop High Aaron, right? And she's wearing the skirt, but it's still clearly a Minecraft skin, and the skirt is like split in two with the legs.
Oh, I see
And
what you
it's
mean.
and
Okay.
it's like, okay, hold on, we could have made something with actual physics here.
I wonder if that's the case of like that would have required like like a detachable clothing rather than just being stuck to the model. That might have been the issue.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's way easier to just import the character models. At this point, I've messed with enough on Blender to understand that it'd be a bit more difficult, but it's possible. In the fact that you went as far as to make like hips. Okay, no one needed hips on the Minecraft characters. Can we at least add a skirt? All right. This feels like one of my biggest complaints. There's so many different forms of media, but skirt physics matter to me for some reason.
Maybe they're just avoiding her having like a Marilyn Monroe issue.
Sure. Well, I don't know, mate. Just think ahead and give her shorts underneath.
That is also true. We have no concrete evidence for the characters not having shorts underneath the skirts. So yeah, why not? That's that's a retcon I can get behind. Why not?
Yeah.
That's the one time I excuse the retcon.
Well, and she was
established.
Well, and she did track for a little bit too, right? I mean, it would make sense for her to be wearing shorts underneath that sort of stuff.
I feel like if she did track, she would not be wearing the skirt in general.
No, but I mean, she did, but also I feel like it'd be. I mean,
in fact, I remember that being like a sports event on one day. I don't think that was like a regular thing. That's Kiori's thing. That was how she stood out. Yeah. So we love Undertale, very basic retro visuals, fantastic story. I guess that's an example of that, yeah.
I have not gone far enough I'm just a beginner. I'm a beginner in animation. I haven't begun to look into coding and all that, but I have heard that Undertale is just terribly coded, which is, great sign because it's like, beloved game, great story, great little aesthetic.
And it was a $2,000 Kickstarter. Give it some leeway.
Sure, but I've heard some pretty harsh things about its actual code.
Of course, because when something like hits the mainstream that way, people are gonna be, people are gonna think like, oh well, why did this get the attention? Look at the way that it's put together, and it's like, well, have a look at the story and the characters.
Right,
they're the real fun parts.
Sure.
Angel, come on, we're going to the mall. Awesome!
But it is a thing that exists.
Was that like an issue on your end or something? Because I heard like, I don't know what I heard. I heard like static or something from somewhere.
I think that's on your end.
Come on, girls.
Why would I have heard it coming from somewhere else then?
Okay, we can talk freely now. They're gone. I get she's in danger. We all are. It's been hard on them.
Okay, this really does seem to be like trying to hammer in the point that something major is going down, which feels very like unnaturally put in together like at this point in the story. It reminds me a bit of Mystic Hills, actually, another Minecraft roleplay. Because like it started off as essentially just a like your typical Minecraft high school series that happened to set in a place called Mystic Hills. Then out of nowhere, a talking cat shows up and then says, "Hey, you're the chosen one to go and hunt mystics, so do that now, please." And then that becomes a major part of the actual story.
Back whenever I called a piece of the lore before it was even created.
What, of Mystic Hills?
Yeah, remember that was the one where I was like, I have a way to make it all canon. And then they did and then because remember it was the one that's the one that got rebooted a few times, right?
Yes.
Yeah, remember in the newest one they did exactly what I said to canonize everything.
Okay, yeah, right. Sorry, I thought you were talking about that you called the talking cat or something. It was like, no, you didn't, because that was like years before. Okay, so you're talking about the reboot version. I'm talking about the original Mystic Hills, which is the one that Mania said actually from her co-creator just seem to like try to like seize a lot of too much control, or try to impose like too many different ideas, which again we have seen behind the scenes with other stuff, depending on whether or not a person's wanting to say no or not. And that's why Mystic Hills, the original version, ended up ending the way that it did, because Mania was no longer satisfied with the product. So again, it seemed like a surprise moment where Mystic stuff seems to come in. The only time I've seen that probably get pulled off correctly was, despite how harsh I've been on it in the past, Emerald Secrets. Because at least with Emerald Secret, there was a build up to this kind of thing. I would have liked if the build up wasn't 12 episodes of virtually nothing happening, but at least it was like a suspenseful thing, and it wasn't just, oh yeah, by the way, you're the Ultima now, deal with that. Yes, it was a surprise reveal in the series, but there was something already off about Aaron by this point that we were, that was sort of like, okay, no, that makes sense now. It all connects, rather than where the heck did that come from? It's that kind of difference. This is a where the heck did that come from moment. Need to be putting on skirts more often. It's both comfy and functional. Well, normalize skirts, I suppose. My second school has skirts, by the way.
Start taking self-defense if you think that will help.
Oh. I guess that explains why she was like coming to a house fire. This is happening too soon. I'm fed up with this world. Again, I'm more understanding of the mother in this case, because again, the mother's the actual mother of the Foxy sisters, just helping out. So I can understand why her performance in particular wouldn't be like the best in the world. The other VAs, I'm like, what is going on? Wow, they all the lighting they didn't use in the previous stage scene has been like put into here.
This is my first time here.
Right, that's the sun
apart from
reflection.
Halloween. Where should we go?
There's only one shop Baby Sama needs. The Too Cute For You boutique.
You know, there's also Trend.
Come on, girls, we could try both.
Look, sis, there's a pet shop.
We're not here to buy pets. What are you doing? You're not gonna take a pet on the date, are you? Please don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
I really want a puppy. Do you think Mom would let us get one?
Okay, I was about to say that looks like an empty glass. No! It's because the black walls again make you think it's like there's nothing there. No, there actually are animals in the corner. You just can't see them. How is this scene both too bright and too dim at the same time? How do you do that?
Not in a million years. Mom wasn't too fond of pets.
You're right. Remember at our old house when we dog sat Grandma's dog, Honey?
Yeah, that dog was brilliant and got into the cupboards every time we went out.
I guess we'll just have to wait till we
Doesn't
move
sound
out
brilliant
to
to
get
me.
our own dogs.
Baby Sama, the boutique is on the second floor.
This has been another pointless moment. Also, it's like how short Angel is, actually. Everybody... I guess because he's the younger sister, but...
Welcome.
I'd never heard of the scaling before.
You boutique.
Okay, why does the... Okay, again, with the voice acting in this, why do you sound like a text-to-speech robot? It's like, welcome to Cute For You Boutique! Like, what? That was like... Was every word recorded separately? How do you do that?
Bella-senpai, Mimi has brought her friend Baby Sama to get a brand new outfit.
Oh, Mimi, it's always great to see you.
Oh, Mimi, it's always great to see you. Do a second take!
This is Baby Sama.
Mimi, don't push me!
Any friend of Mimi's is a friend of mine, so don't worry, baby. I'll take care of you. So what's the outfit for?
A guy.
A date.
Also, I just realized I think Baby's still in her pajamas. I think that's like her pajama outfit.
I think that was actually some I thought that was pretty good scripting. That was kind of funny. I like that.
Oh, what, the Gaia date thing? Yeah. That being said, I would have liked it more if they actually said it both at the same time as each other and they just layered the vocals, but, I don't know.
I think I actually prefer it this way.
A date with a guy. I think I have the perfect outfit.
A date with a guy? I never heard of such a concept
It's in
before.
that last dressing room.
The
Go
only
change.
people that come here are lesbians.
You're in the wrong store. They're just an entire row of flannel shirts. That's like half of what they sell.
I like the idea that there's just an entire block. No, there's like a street of clothing shops for different sexualities.
You think the lesbian shop will be more purple than this, but yeah, true.
Be right back, girls.
By the way, you're another archival channel for Mystic Hills.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I did go back to look because I was like, hey, did episode 2 ever come out? Because it did occur to me, hey, I don't think it was canceled, was it? When's the next one coming out? It's unlisted. And it doesn't have a playlist either, which means you have to go back to your review and click the link to get to the unlisted video. The other Mystic Hills stuff, the also unlisted, but at least they have playlists. The Magic Within, no playlist, so you have to go to your review to get it.
Yeah, it's like, what Magic Within series? But I only rebooted this once. What are you talking about?
I'm bored. Are you done yet? The zipper is stuck.
Baby, do you need
You
some
just
help?
went in there, right? Was there a time skip there? Clearly the zipper wasn't that stuck.
Baby Sama looks so cute.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, now let's probably find out a different size. If the zipper's getting stuck, you don't want to be wearing that for a long time. They're going to cut your circulation.
I like it.
You don't think it's too much?
Also, this is literally the first outfit she's tried. I feel like but this would be like a bit more of a rotation. Not to like try to do like the whole like, 90s sitcom montage of shopping or something. I just mean like a couple of trial outfits of some kind where it's
Just
like,
keep
here's
shoes and stuff
my
flying
options.
out.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's more difficult in Minecraft. If this was a gacha series, I'd definitely say that's an option. Wise Fox just uploaded a vid. It has 1K views in 18 minutes. Who is Wise Fox again? I feel like I'm missing the context here. Who is Wise Fox?
When it comes to guys,
Man, lots
it's
of
never too
channels
much.
put your channel to shame. Lots of channels put
Okay,
every channel to shame. I wouldn't be paying too much stock into, but his stuff is getting more views in a shorter amount of time. Yeah, who cares?
I think it's also because Sense by Bun said before there's like a video that is significantly overperforming like her expectations or expectations on like their channel. So I think that was, part of that's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm so hyped about my video outperforming what I normally do. Oh, wait, here's somebody who did significantly better that also we're not going to introduce, I guess. All right, then.
I think it would be good to really familiarize yourself with an ever-changing, uncaring...
Oh, wow! You mean Wise Fox, one of the biggest gacha YouTubers having 1 million subscribers? Why ever did a video get 1,000 views in 18 minutes then? What a surprise!
Yeah, look, man, you're on YouTube. This is an uncaring company that will never take responsibility for a single thing.
That's like me being like, oh, look at how well this video is performing. Oh, look at that. Mr. Beast just posted.
Right. It is, but no, here's the thing. YouTube is not good per se. It's here and it is kind of just the top dog. It is important to understand you're not here for like a good website. You're not here for a website that actually has people running it. I think it's good to keep in mind. All of this is ran by a very biased algorithm. You could make the best content ever as your very first video, and you will not make as many views as that other person.
But I will say that also makes perfect sense, because how exactly are people supposed to judge the quality of a video if they don't see the video first? They have to be able to see the video, and you have to be able to get the impressions and click-through rate before they're able to judge the content itself. So that's the reason videos underperform is people don't either don't get shown them or they don't get immediately enticed into them. That's that you can't help that. It's not like there's like an objective thing that can judge quality. My bad is about to run out.
No, exactly, but that's my point, right? You are at the whims of an uncaring algorithm.
Okay, but the way that you can phrase that is if there would be a better system that another website would implement. There isn't really. That's just like the deal with, I don't know.
No, there is. At this point, I think it's pretty well known that if you get popular for a certain thing, regardless of popularity, YouTube will frequently just show that one thing. That's why right. It doesn't show any of the other stuff that you branch out into. You aren't
okay,
free
but
to
also you say if you get popular with that sort of thing, you have to be able to get popular with that sort of thing to begin with in order to kickstart that process.
No, right, but you can't branch out from that as easily as you should, and you used to be able to. So
okay,
there
but
is a better system.
the point was not about like branching out into different types of things. We were talking specifically about the quality of videos, whether or not they were part of something that was a larger branding or not. And in this case, we're talking about a video that we haven't seen or a video from a more popular channel. That was what Sense by Buns was getting at, and that's why I was trying to harken back to that set part of the algorithm specifically. What you're also about is a separate issue with the algorithm.
Right. I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter how good of a video you make. It will always underperform against some random person you can find because you should be going off of your channel alone because this is not a great algorithm. And this is what I'm saying is that you know you're talking about like you saying like the like going off your own channel and not trying to like compare yourself to a random other person. Yes, that's fair, but I'm saying that YouTube is not bad because that is the way that it works. It's bad for a number of other reasons, but that's not one of them. That's what I was getting at. I definitely think that is one of them. I mean, like, again, there is better systems that they used to have in place that they could put back into place.
Those systems were still impressions related, actually.
Yeah.
So again, what it boils down to as far as like the quality of videos, you have to be able to entice people in first. That was always the case, no matter what differences the algorithm has now. Yes, there are more subtle differences, and a lot of it is now due to retention rates and such. But we didn't even get into those aspects. When we're talking specifically about the aspect that Sense by Buns was concerned about, YouTube is not bad for having those systems in place. It's bad for others.
No, I disagree. Yes! I mean, I do think that you should be keeping that in mind, and that's why you should be looking at your channel specifically.
Okay, I guess you can get it. Yay! Love you, sis!
By the way, I unignored you because we're going back and forth and there was no point anymore.
Baby Sama, use Mimi
We said what we had to say.
20% off.
Thanks, Mimi. I really need to think about getting a job. This is most of my pocket money this week.
I'm sorry, you can afford this place with pocket money?
Apparently, we don't know how expensive this boutique actually is. It just looks good.
Okay,
right, I mean, either that or this is a world where inflation was kind of wrangled in a little bit.
Again, they might just have terrible clothing.
Sure, I get a good night's sleep. See you all here tomorrow.
Not that you could tell, because we haven't seen the outfit fully yet.
Let's go, Angel.
Bye, Baby Sama.
See you tomorrow.
Bye, baby.
Can we get a front view so I can see what the outfit is?
I like how they all came to the mall together, and yet Baby just decides to leave them there. It's like, what was the point? They all came in just to like be judges for a second. They don't even like hang out or anything. Okay, fine. Off you go.
Mimi's gonna head home too.
Okay, sis, let's head home before.
I guess Sugar and Tay decide to stay for a bit. Fair enough. Before it gets dark. What do you mean? It's dark. Look at the way the sun is.
Hey, give that back! After them, sis!
What even? How'd they get that far away that quickly?
Shut up. The plot has to happen.
This is really dangerous.
Okay, now there's like a ritual sacrifice of some kind. But only because it's so dark.
Do you guys want to have a meal? I'd love to eat with you.
Mm-hmm.
Give back my bag or
Whoa, you free?
The cloud was
Stay
off
away from me.
center, but
This is so not
That being said, again, you could at least say there was an attempt there, which is more we can say for other
Sure.
places. And actually, they must have had to actually replace the model in the exact same setting, which means for once in their lives they had to linger on a shot. It's what I was saying before. They didn't zoom the camera out because that would have been impossible to coordinate for them. Unless they went frame by frame, which is a possibility, but again, why? They clearly know the easier option here. So again, one of my other excuses to why that mirror thing would not have worked also doesn't work now. They could have done the mirror thing you mentioned before.
this looks like it's about to be a Pixelmon fight.
Maybe.
And he just leaves anyways.
Okay, yeah, and by going through them,
Why are you guys just sitting there?
Yeah, why not just like drop the thing that you took away in the first place? You didn't want to get involved in the fight, and then leave the opposite direction. Why did it have to be that way? I mean, maybe they didn't like render anything out. They built anything else like in the map, but guess what? That's out of frame. We wouldn't know that. You can go off into the void if you want, and we're gonna be none the wiser. That's how sets work in film.
what was that? I don't know.
I agree for
Now
different
let's go
reasons.
before they come back. Let's just keep this between us for now. I have no idea what's going on.
Was that supposed to be related to the idea that Baby and Angel are in danger?
I'm sorry, I blinked. Where did the suitcase basket cat thing go?
The person dropped it, and then she broke it and took it. Like in how we pick up stuff in Minecraft.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Is this related to the way that they're in danger in some way? Just they got randomly mugged, and that's supposed to connect? Because the way it's phrased, like I don't know what's going on, as if like this is part of like a larger thing or something. But it doesn't seem like it, unless that was designed to provoke Baby into using her magic for the first time, which you think if that were the case, it would be based on intense emotions. That would have happened when Anthony stole her song earlier, and she had like her biggest scream of rage of all time. That would have been a more appropriate moment to do that.
Spartan Rage from God of War.
Yeah, or just Brooklyn Rage from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. I would have taken that over what happened here.
Hey sis, what are you?
Again, they're getting better at musical transitions at least, like fading out the music.
Oh, I know. It's the whiplash, man. It's the whiplash. This does not fit the tone, is what we just saw.
Yeah. So that feels like a mini Mimi.
Wait,
Nice
isn't that
lighting,
your
though.
friend Baby? Then who's the other guy?
Anthony-kin! Mimi heard Anthony-kin's apology song to Baby Sama.
Oh yeah, that's. Oh, hold on. Actually, I will say that in the Summer Party episode, they all should have been able to hear it, but Sugar came out to the balcony to see Baby after the song had just been performed and asked, like, "Baby, what's taking so long?" Implying they all couldn't hear, but Mimi for some reason could. I know she's heavily based off Kawaii-chan, but she doesn't actually have Mifa ears.
I'll never understand you, sis.
And you never will unless you unlock the power of Kawaii!
I'll never understand you, and you never will. Thanks for that. We got that far.
Is that a line from the anime you're watching?
I mean, it didn't even have to be, because it has a whole song about being kawaii just like Mimi. That could have been her actual words. Is she watching an anime? Her computer is off, or whatever she's looking at.
Whoa, I'm just messing with you, sis. You need to lighten up a bit.
Mimi is sorry, kitty. She just gets really defensive about Anthony.
Oh my goodness.
Man,
Her
I
sister's
hate
name
this.
is Kitty! Ah!
I hate everything about this. God.
That's almost as bad as Nekoette as a name. As much as she's my favorite character in My Street, the name is like Nekoette. Female cats. Fantastic. Anyway.
Yeah, I know you were the one that suggested the idea to Mom and Dad about turning the cafe kawaii, as you say.
Ah, you mean the Kawaii Treat Made Sweet Cafe? Wow. Again, when I think you come to be more of a Kawaii-chan ripoff.
Yes, Mimi loves the new cafe look. Reminds her so much of Little Maid cafes.
Anyways,
I mean, it reminds you of maid cafes, but it isn't actually a maid cafe. You could just ask them to make a maid cafe if you're gonna make the whole place kawaii enough.
going to bed. Don't stay up too late, sis.
Mimi won't. Mimi has
Why is the younger sister saying don't stay up too late?
summer tomorrow to make sure nothing ruins
Man,
her
it's gonna be
shit.
crazy when she gets over this phase.
Unless she's like Kawaii-chan and just never does, and it becomes her entire identity for the rest
Yeah,
of
but
her
at
life.
least Kawaii-chan had like a reason.
Yeah, and she was self-aware to realize why that was the case. But then again, she could have easily fizzled that out when she entered adulthood and like was away from her other siblings. Which is the
No,
whole
right, but I think given Kawaii-chan's backstory and her reasoning, I think that would have required an actual therapist.
Maybe.
This character just looks like they're going through a really bad teenage phase. There's a difference between these situations.
I guess when we met Kawaii-chan, she was already too far gone in that direction anyway. So yeah, I suppose.
You say so. Night.
I wish we'd been this shot the whole time. Actually,
I would like it actually in the final season. I think it's the final season, anyways. If they just actually show Kawaii-chan in therapy talking about her childhood.
potentially, yeah. They could like a whole scene actually where like different characters are in different like rooms and there's one like therapy building or some kind. Not necessarily at the same time as the other, but we don't like crossover between them. So it's like a whole series of confessionals potentially, and it cuts like different flashbacks of theirs that might have like formed them in some way. That would be an interesting episode.
Sure.
Anyway,
they would all need different therapists, but yeah.
I know, that's why I'm saying different rooms in the same building, so it's not like the same person listening to every single one of them, because that's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought like it would be one building because I mean it probably is in the City of Phoenix drop, and also because that would be a nice visual anchor, I suppose. Anyway, the thing we just saw here about Mimi's ship being in danger, yes, that is definitely true. However, another difference between Mimi and Kawaii-chan is that I don't think Kawaii-chan would ever go out of her way to sabotage one of Aphmau's relationships if she chose somebody else different that wasn't Aaron.
I don't know about that. I feel like early Kawaii-chan definitely would have.
I mean, early Kawaii-chan, but then again, early Aphmau would have didn't even consider that. So.
Sure. Well, early Aphmau also didn't consider a shipping shrine, so there's a lot of things she didn't consider about how broken Kawaii-chan's psyche was.
We do know that Aphmau did have a different boyfriend at some point, although I think that was more relating to that Aaron thought she dated Ian for a bit, because that was the whole rumor. But if that's not the case, then she could have had a different boyfriend at some point, and Kawaii-chan would have been okay with that. But
they aren't together anymore.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's a shame because in this case, from what we have seen, well, what any of the characters have seen so far, Tyson would be the better alternative. This is the Team Jacob problem again. Everyone runs into this pitfall when it comes to introducing like a rival love interest. For some reason, it's like, well, of course, because when you're going to have a rival love interest, you need to be able to establish that there is like some level of connection between them. Because the first person that you introduce in that the first love interest, well, okay, there's like a back and forth between them. They have their combined history, whatever, and they have their baggage. But then if you have a rival, you have to put them above the other person in some sort of way. What happens when you do that is that you end up with somebody who people see as more compatible. And I call it the Team Jacob effect because the most famous example of that is Jacob Black from Twilight, at least at first, because the solution that was implemented into that was that Jacob's character got assassinated, and he just became irredeemable to counterbalance. There's like, well, I guess, you know, Edward's bad, but he's worse now, so you can't be on his side anymore. Take that, loyal fan base. But yeah, that happens in a lot of cases. I guess also another example would be Luca from Miraculous Ladybug. You know, you bring up a character who immediately has more chill chemistry with Marinette than Adrian had in 3 seasons beforehand, and suddenly people are like, oh wait, these two could kind of work together. What happens in that case? Well, in his case, actually, they didn't have to assassinate his character. They gave him a legitimate reason to leave. He had a legitimate excuse as to why he would not be in the rest of the series. And that I understand. But again, it's the same pitfall. You have to get rid of the other person in some way, because once that drama aspect is over, you want to go back to what your end game is. So, but yeah, most examples aren't that successful. Most of them end up being a case of Team Jacob. And in this case, we've already had the character of the moment where we see they're incompatible, because we, the audience, know that Titan is up to something, which is presumably tied to whatever's going on with the mother and possibly with the thief that we just saw. So we know not to root for Tyson. But in universe, he seems like the less toxic person according to what the characters have seen up until this point. I feel like I'm in our D&D sessions again. I'm just talking about dramatic irony on top of what's going on. It's like, oh yeah, well, you know, he's going to attack you, so you know you would obviously attack him. It's like, no, I wouldn't. What do you mean? I don't know he's going to attack me.
Yeah, hey.
you the DM told me he's hostile. I the character don't know that yet until he does something.
I don't know. We got him to go out pretty peacefully.
Oh no, we did. We solved the problem. I just mean like the way that was introduced is like, okay, well, I'm telling you this information, therefore all your characters know. It's like, no, not necessarily. We the players know that, but like, what is the clue in universe? It's like, you can tell he's hostile. How? Because his eyes turn red. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, but going back to this example, from a dramatic irony standpoint, they don't know that yet. So Mimi trying to sabotage us is just basically exerting her will onto Baby, and yeah, that's a very potentially early Kawaii-chan move, depending on what people think might have happened if that were the case. You know what's something that would actually be an interesting idea if Kawaii-chan had a different ship at some point that she seemed to think would work, but then was proven not to have that be the case, apart from Dante and Nicole, actually. That sort of did happen, but you never really saw the aftermath of that. Then she would have had to actually learned that, you know, people are more complicated than she thinks, and you can't go on based on like outward visuals or a knee-jerk response to one interaction between Afro and Aaron 10 years beforehand in order to constantly ship them for the rest of their lives.
Sure.
That would have been a nice lesson.
I will say, I do genuinely really like her backstory, and it's a shame, because I know this will never happen, but I throw out the idea almost as, like, just a random, like, throwing thing as well, but the more I think, I do genuinely kind of want, like, I wouldn't even mind, like, a spin-off or, like, a short film or something about, like, her in therapy. I think it would be really interesting to break her down, like, I think it'd be interesting to break her psychology down in that kind of way. Oh no, I would just be intrigued. I don't think that'd be enough for a second season for Athnow or anything, but for the record, I would enjoy
an episode.
it.
An episode, potentially, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be super long.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you should be careful.
What are you doing here? I can take.
Yeah, also, what are you doing here? I mean, I think she was maybe this would be a good moment where she like comes out to the balcony and sort of like I guess remembers the last time she was out here, which not last time, because last time was the song. The last time she was out here alone, where Anthony sang to her, but I guess Anthony is in the scene, and again we just can't see him.
Take care of myself.
I'm just warning you.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you're jelly.
You wish, pretty princess.
Oh, he is so jelly.
Ugh.
Tomorrow I'm going on my first date.
Okay, so interesting. So I thought that, you know, the way that the song ended with those two last time, she seemed to be actually into him for the first time, but no, I guess that's been undone by Tyson immediately, which, again, I would say go Tyson, but I, the audience member, know that he's not a good person, apparently.
Hey everyone, Foxy Angel here, aka Angel.
Foxy Nick here, aka Anthony.
Anthony!
I would just
That's not even the voice that Anthony has.
as to thank you all for watching this episode and all the support you've showed for my passion. So here's an update on Foxy Babe, aka Baby's condition. My sister will be going to a rheumatoid specialist sometime this month, as it's impossible she has rheumatoid arthritis. She's in constant pain at the moment and can't move her hands, fingers, arms, and legs and feet without feeling agony. My mom has tried everything. She's even going green to help her with the swelling and where the pain is. With saying that, she is still trying her hardest to make my passion, improving it, and so on. But please don't DM her and ask where the next episode is, as it really upsets her she can't do things as fast as she used to.
And we're all working hard, and that includes all of our voice actors, body actors, artists, editors, you name it, our entire team. And we love it when you guys get enjoyment out of the video.
Well, what does message entail? Like, what are you messaging on? Because if it's Discord, that's a very easy problem to fix.
Yes, but then well, I mean, it depends. If there's like a constant flood of people, I guess on Discord you can either say like only messaged by people who friended you.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
And then on Twitter, I'll say I don't know when this came out or the history of Twitter updates, but I know right now on Twitter you can set it up so that way your DMs are open or not, and it's like, well,
I don't know. If Leon Tarkshina's still lurking in the chats, that reminds me of the time that there was a Twitter update where you could no longer delete messages in DMs. At least you can do them on your end, but not on the other person's end. And that was actually one of my first voice acting roles, because I played the I played the person who screenshot the deleted message. I don't know what I would call that. I think that's on my list of things I made, assuming that hasn't been unlisted by now.
That's one of those times where you don't even want to explain it. You just want it to just be called extra. That's the character's role. You don't, because there's no way to explain that specific niche purpose.
I don't know, that might make for a fun IMDb credit, actually.
Sure, but it'd be sure. You'd get some questions though, I imagine.
Good engagement.
Sure, you go up to do like an audition for a big wig studio or something, and they're like, "Hey, question. I was looking through your resume, right?
Yeah.
What does this mean?"
Yeah, so there's like, well, let me weave you a tale. That would actually be a good icebreaker, not gonna lie.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To continue this.
Put up, and we want to continue putting smiles on people's faces. So I just want to say thank you all for understanding and being patient. There's also a couple other things that I want to discuss. I want you guys to take a second to look over the description. We actually have some important stuff down there.
No, you don't. You never do. You don't have a description in the description. You just have a bunch of links,
including a link to support us on Patreon, so we're able to continue making videos. There's also a P.O. box address where you can send fan art or fan mail. That'll actually get passed on to the sisters directly. So if you have something that you want to send them, feel free to send it to that address. Lastly, it
would be a pretty terrible P.O. box if it didn't get passed on to them eventually in some way.
My passion merch, so if you don't have your character hoodie yet, be sure to pick one of those.
It could be one of those.
Thanks again for watching.
It could be one of those moments where this happens quite a bit in a lot of the content houses, where it's like, hey, here's where money's going here publicly, but on the inside, it's not going where you think it is.
Okay, but in this case, it's physical objects are going here publicly. And we're verbally declaring that they're going directly to the person, but I guess in that sense there is also no tangible proof unless they actually showed in a different video that they received certain things.
Yeah, like there's
which is
no
a common
telling
practice.
how that's actually like there's no telling whose account and who's in control. We don't know what their real personal life is, so we don't even have confirmation that this dude is even all that great. So it's like, well,
I feel like I feel like he definitely would not say, by the way, I'm a horrible person. Send the
No,
Foxy
I know
sisters
that.
PO
Well, what
stuff.
I'm saying is there is a history of that sort of thing being exploited. So,
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's only so many ways, I guess, you could exploit fan art. I was like, hey, we're gonna make an entire visual based on traced fan art from everyone. I guess that would be a way to exploit the fan art,
FNAF.
admittedly.
Has happened. Yeah, that has happened so many times throughout the FNAF's history. One of the early teasers for FNAF VR was from Trace fan art, and then people complained about it, and Scott was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Except it's weird because that's not the only time it's happened. It's happened so many times throughout like the graphic novels. Like one of the like the first.
No.
I hate the graphic novels so much. Their art is never all that great, but it's like WikiHow art. But regardless, like the very first one, whenever they showed like because you have a book and it's like, hey, here's an excerpt, here's like a little sneak peek, and they had that, and people were quick to notice, hey, this looks a lot like Daco's Into the Pit music video. Something about the shadows and in the style and the shapes of this feels very similar. And then it ended up being revealed, oh, yeah, they actually just trace it. So, it's happened more than once, unfortunately.
I see. Well, in this case, we know that never ended up being the case, because after this, there is one more episode of My Passion, and then they were unable to continue the series, but they never continued it with any sort of like graphic novels or anything of that nature, so that absolutely did not happen in this case.
Thank God.
We're looking forward to seeing you in the next
most
episode.
of the graphic novels don't actually, they're just adaptations. God, I hate them so much. They're never good.
I'll be honest, the graphic novels being adaptations might be even worse because essentially you're saying like, okay, you're paying for the exact same story you already know again, but we didn't even make it this time.
Sure, that happens all the time though, minus the art tracing.
Doesn't make it good.
No, but it's not uncommon. Now the Into the Big game.
That's what I said. Like an adaptation is probably worse. If there's like an original story to it, at least you feel like, okay, there's something that you've contributed to this equation.
No, that's the thing about like the Into the Big game, which I'm excited about, because you can see in the trailer, like I saw in the trailer, Golden Freddy's in there, and he's like, "That I read the book. He's not there." Like there's certain things in that trailer, like, "Hey, this is new," so I'm very excited. So if you can add in new stuff, then. Like, actually, Remedy did something very similar. Where there's a game that there's a game that I didn't know that I had to get to. I'll have to figure out some time to do that. But it's called Quantum Break. It's a game about time travel and all that, classic. But they had a novelization about it. And essentially what they did for that is they had a novelization, you had the game, but they told the author, hey, here's all of our scrapped ideas and here's our brainstorming boards and you can use all of this. And you can even add in your own stuff if you want. Have fun. Which is really cool to me, because they were able to exploit the whole, hey, this is a multiverse and it's an echo and a broken mirror.
It's also very risky because sometimes scrapped ideas are scrapped for a good reason.
Well, yeah, but it was given complete, like, it was given to the author, and so, if it comes out good or is there or not, they aren't required to use it, but they can if they want, right? Like, they don't have to stick with just the game, which is a very inventive and cool ad, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, then in the sense that's why I think the graphic novels being adaptations in this case probably isn't as much of a relief. That's what I meant before.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So as for this episode, so I guess the dating jitters thing we're building up to the eventual date, which in itself is not too bad. In this case, this is more when again to link back to Aphmau one last time. This is where the three-parters that Aphmau used to do came in, where the first one seems to be building up to something. The second one is the beginning of said something, and then the third one would be the payoff. Or in the case, sometimes it is just setup and payoff, and it's a two-parter. I've said before, my favorite My Street episode of all time is What Do You Know About Me, Part 2. What Do You Know About Me, Part 1 was just the preparation for Aphmau's date with Kai, Mutual Pie Season 2, and What Do You Know About Me, Part 2 was the date and the subsequent destruction of Aphmau's entire sense of self-worth and like concept of like how her friends interacted with her, which sounds horrendous to be my favorite thing in My Streets, but I swear there's more to it than just that. but yeah, that's that might have been like a good way to like brand these as like a part 1 and part 2. This might be a good excuse to do that, especially because we just kind of like introduced to Tyson this particular episode. Then again, there was a lot of mystique to this, where we get to see baby. We know that her grandmother was a witch because that was declared to us beforehand. We also know that in the future, she doesn't use magic too much. But then again, we've actually seen in the past, in fact, because the Halloween special happened, they reference it in this video, that child ghosts exist. So very much not out of the ordinary for this to happen, but again, the way it feels like it's coming out of nowhere, because suddenly it's like, well, why is she in danger now of all times? Why was this not like built up or foreshadowed in any way before this point? That's why it seems like coming out of nowhere, because it's suddenly like, well, now we need other stakes. Despite the fact we have a Minecraft musical that's coming up, we have the evolution, for better or worse, between Baby and Anthony to deal with. That's already 2 story elements that you could actually address. You could even add in the rival love interest if you want, and actually just not have them immediately be shown to be a terrible person. Wait a little bit for that to happen. Those would have been enough in this case, but it feels like maybe there's a sense that the story isn't storying enough, which, yeah. When we've talked about the bad writing in this series so far, it's more of a case of the execution of those ideas. It's not that we think that nothing is going on. In some episodes, nothing is going on, but in the series as a whole, there is definitely a progression that is occurring. Whether it's meeting new friends, whether it's a different conflict that's addressing, whether it's the rivalry between Baby and Katie, which gets resolved in the future episodes for the record, so we know that's not going to get proper evolution until that point, which is fantastic. But so any of those situations, there is a lot to be invested in if you are is so inclined, and if you can get past the terrible cinematography, the voice actors apparently working hard but not being represented because the direction is also terrible, and the execution of the actual ideas. If you get past all that stuff, then My Passion is the series for you. So again, it's not like this is devoid of anything that is of quality. It's just that it could be so much better than it actually is. So yeah, the story isn't apparent enough that it feels like a cartoon, right? That's an insult to cartoons, because cartoons can be very well written. And in fact, my favorite visual in this episode was the scene with Mimi running down the street cartoon style.
But, I was about to say, it depends on the type of cartoon. Are we talking like SpongeBob cartoon or
terrible Adult Swim cartoon? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a counter example to SpongeBob.
Well, no, I mean like I don't know. I mean, I guess just since we talked about recently, it's the first thing on my mind, right? Gravity Falls, pretty well written cartoon.
Again, I think of a counter example because we both like both of those shows, so that wouldn't be
right. But what I mean is, SpongeBob is very apparent in its storytelling.
Okay, yeah. As well as about like the actual quality and execution of the storytelling, rather than how like on the nose or visually abstract something might get. that's where you get like the variation. And I guess within like Minecraft, apart from some stuff that BB said before with like the hallway and such, getting visually abstract is much more complicated because Minecraft, kind of builds itself an idea of like making something concrete and tangible. So that's why a lot of the role players you see have been concrete and tangible as well. If anything, considering that the trailer of My Streets One Last Time came out, we have about a year's time before the quality of the standard of Minecraft roleplays ends up being irreparably raised too high for the bar of entry. So potentially now is the time for anyone to be exploring some more of their abstract ideas, and possibly for someone else to come along and do a musical that is better than this one.
That's okay.
That's a difficult thing to do.
That's all right. Aphmau might show Mr. Beastify the MCYT space and then vanish. We don't know. Because it is weird because Aphmau Stories was changed to just the My Street name for the new season. So
yeah,
I don't know. Because before her wording was all future role plays would be put on Aphmau Stories, but now that it's that one series, it's weird. I don't know what the future of role play is now.
At least in her case. When I say future of role plays, I mean more like the actual genre itself.
No, I know. What I mean though is like she will show up, raise the bar, and then just never be seen again in the space.
So yeah, anyone who wants to get this to try and do like one of their own Minecraft role plays in that time span, and we may or may not end up doing something like this or something like that to as like a last hurrah or something, honestly. But if it was just now, I guess is the time. And instead of using the barometer of My Street in order to account for that, use this as the barometer, but of the lower entry. Don't do this, but build upon what you see in this video and make something better. So yeah, I guess we've got one more episode of My Passion to get through, and that is the end, I suppose. So we know why the story concludes. That's the future episodes. That might be a blessing in disguise, but maybe the next episode might pay off the danger aspect immediately, or it's going to be an unresolved cliffhanger for the rest of time that the series could not account for due to the behind-the-scenes health issues that they actually endured. So I guess we won't know until that point, but we'll return to this in due time. In the meantime, we have a lot of catching up to do as far as stuff people have also requested. So we'll get to that stuff first. So in the meantime, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. Subscribe to us already. And on that note,